Before the video starts, I do want to mention that this video is the fourth and final part of a series that has run throughout February. So if you haven't seen the first part, I recommend that you do. A lot of the basics of the challenge were explained in that video, so I'd highly advise watching it. But if not, I'll quickly explain the premise of the challenge. Sonic Frontiers is my favorite Sonic game of all time, but it's way too easy. So to make it as hard as possible, I made the Ultimate Sonic Frontiers Challenge, which contains 6 whole rules. 1. You can't die at any point of the game. 2. You can only attempt cyberspace levels once, and if we run out of cyberspace levels and haven't collected all the unlocked Chaos Emeralds, we lose. 3. No fishing. 4. No major glitches like skipping Kronos Island using Hyperbounce. 5. No upgrading any of our stats. And 6. We can't intentionally silent for rings. So, without further ado, let's continue where we left off. After Chaos Island, we are instructed to shut down 6 towers on Rhea Island, and honestly, this was by far the easiest part of the challenge, and it's pretty simple to break down. The second rule is completely negated because there aren't any cyberspace levels to play in the first place. The fifth rule is also mostly negated because not only does most of the enemies on Rhea Island die in one hit, but there's also no Hermit or Elder Coco at all, so no accidental leveling up either. The third rule is also negated because there's no fishing spots and no major glitches from Rule 4 actually help us with the completion of the island, meaning that the only rules that really apply to us are Rule 1 and Rule 6. No side looping is required for Rhea at all, and the most punished you'll get for falling at anything in Silence is just falling down a couple levels. When we add that with the generally easy design, and the fact that you can Drake boost off the top of one tower and land a good way up the next, we easily and effortlessly beat Rhea Island in just about 17 minutes. The next island though won't be nearly as easy as the last. When I first came up with the idea of this challenge, I had already fully known that Aranos Island was going to be the hardest island by far. I've never beaten this game properly, so unlike any other island in the game, I am going in completely blind. I have zero experience with regarding any memory token collecting or even cyberspace levels, and you need 190 tokens to beat the island, so collecting them is going to be a chore. Not only that, I have never beaten the game on hard mode before, so not only am I about to play the hardest island of my life, but I'm also going headfirst and attempting to first try a boss I've barely seen. So yes, Oranos Island was really the final island, hence why it took a whopping 200 minutes to complete. Without further ado, let's begin the final island. We start off near the edges of the island, and something instantly becomes clear about Oranos Island. Unlike any other island in the game, Oranos Island is a lot more streamlined than any other island in the game, with the exception of Rhea. Let's take Chaos Island as an example. There's a squid chase sequence, a whole pinball area, and there are multiple sections where the game tells you to collect memory tokens. But with Oranos Island, things are a lot simpler and by consequence a lot harder. There's no obligatory challenges at all, so you have to collect 6 Chaos Emeralds by Vault Keys, which, I cannot stress enough, I have zero experience with. Anyway, we start off with fighting Red Pillar, and considering my experience with Excavator, which is the inferior version of Red Pillar, I wasn't about to let that happen again. Thankfully though, there's a ledge right next to the boss, so I was able to attack directly, and somehow we didn't even lose any rings. After beating Red Pillar, I got my portal gear, and surprise surprise, we started off the cyberspace run with 4-1, and my face immediately lit up. See, while I have no idea what 4-1 looked like, I have played other Sonic games, and thankfully by some grace of God, I have played Metal Harbor before, so I was able to not immediately die and was able to get my way around. What didn't help with that was the red star ring, so I actually missed the first red star ring, and got my 3 vault keys, which unlocked the blue Chaos Emerald. Afterwards, the game just gets right back to it until it's to apply more vault keys and things start to go bad. Because we're on the final island, a lot of the cyberspace portals are very expensive, and when you combine this with the horrible bosses that are very difficult, like Caterpillar and Ghost, we're not looking too good. We actually went around exploring a bit because I knew that by the time Oranos Island access for memory tokens again, it would be an extremely high amount, and while exploring I found Kunoichi. And look, I'm not undermining Kunoichi and Ninja Master, okay? They are extremely beefy bosses at this point of the game, and their attack cycles can be extremely exhausting, especially Ninja Master. But they're a lot easier to fight than the Towers and Caterpillar, and Ghost, while it is easier, it takes the rings from us, kind of something we don't really want happening. So we fight Kunoichi, get a portal gear, and we enter 4-2. This cyberspace level went so well. I did miss a red star ring, which I kind of expected to happen at this point, and there were some sections where I could have gone faster, but considering this is my first time playing this, I was doing pretty good. And by the end of the level I got two vault keys? What happened? Yeah, so it turned out my little detours completely lost me the S rank, and had I not instinctively collected a lot of rings, I would have gotten one vault key. So we leave 4-2 and we haven't unlocked the red Chaos Emerald. So we fight another Kunoichi that's red next to the Emerald, and we collect the portal gear, and we enter 4-3? With the exception of Chronos Island, I've never played the cyberspace levels in order, and Chronos doesn't really count because I knew which cyberspace portal were which, so it's kinda strange how we're randomly running around Oranos and have managed to play 4-1, 4-2, and 4-3 in order. Speaking of 4-3, I am very surprised at how well I did. If you even look just vaguely at this level, it looks very difficult. This type of level that looks like the red star ring could be anywhere. But thankfully the first red star ring I actually saw was the first one, so from there I was just looking out for them. And to be frank, I think every single other red star ring took me some amount of time to complete. The second one was fine, but the rest had me completely gazing at where it was and deciding how to get it. But somehow we managed to get all 4 missions done, and this island is so cruel we only collect the red emerald. Keep in mind, we've used 3 cyberspace levels out of 9, and we have 4 more emeralds to collect, so we're not doing great. So we collect the red emerald. The game then tells us to see Sage, and honestly, it's very rare to see different treasures containing memory tokens. When this game told me to collect 74 memory tokens, it was a chore. While stocking up on memory tokens, I got a portal gear from a treasure and attempted 4-8, and when I completed it, I was very happy with myself. I wasn't sure what kind of crazy path I had taken to finish the level in 34 seconds, and I had missed the 3rd red star ring, but surely I would walk away with 3 memory tokens, right? Well, no! Why did nobody tell me there was a cyberspace level that required you to beat it in less than 30 seconds? I don't even know how I messed that up, but thankfully the 2 vault keys were collected were enough to unlock the green Chaos Emerald, and after advancing the story and making the bridge, we collected the green Chaos Emerald. And once again, we're getting told to collect some vault keys. After wandering around for a bit looking for a cyberspace portal and finding one that for whatever reason didn't allow me to see it, we fought with Ninja Master. And before I comment on this fight, I just have to say that Ninja Master is by far my favorite guardian in all of Frontiers. The ninja, shinobi, kunoichi, and the like were already my favorite types of guardians, since they were very simple and didn't have any extra gimmick. And Ninja Master is just the best of them all. His attacks are magnificent, he can even parry. Admittedly, his move where he clones himself into 5 can be really long, but that's only if you're in a situation like me, where we're always actively trying to not get hit. Anyway, we beat Ninja Master, collect the portal gear, and we collected another portal gear from a random enemy. And then, because I already knew that it took 190 memory tokens to clear Oranos, I went out of my way to get as many memory tokens as possible. Keep in mind, I am skimming through these events, and this segment of the island took the longest amount of time. And what makes it even worse is that I would do challenges I had already done and get nothing, just wasting time. But thankfully, I did get yet another portal gear through a treasure, so after that, we entered 4-6. And once again, this didn't go well at all. I just got hit a bunch, took the wrong route from the get-go, and honestly I wasn't even surprised when I got 2 vault keys. Thankfully though, the cyberspace level I just played only took 1 portal gear, so I searched around and found 4-4. Now thankfully, with some random grace, I remembered Bakuri Box 12 talking about this in his cyberspace video, but from the only thing I could gather as prior information was that the level was a very open level. But somehow I managed to get all 4 vault keys, which hasn't happened in a while by this point, so we happily collect 7 vault keys and unlock the yellow Chaos Emerald. And so, we finally get the 4th Chaos Emerald of this island. I mean, what do you expect at this point? Earlier on in the playthrough, I had seen this one level next to the Ghost boss fight, but it required 3 portal gears to get it. But I had already put 2 in prior, and got the 3rd one by fighting Ninja Master again. At this point, we were already really close to collecting all the memory tokens we needed, and the fight with Ninja Master did take all but 7 of our rings, so it was simple to get some scraps of memory tokens. And afterwards, we entered 4-9, which is this weird skateboard level, which is honestly kind of weird to play, but it was extremely easy, so I took it for what it was. I do have to say that the red star rings are kind of stupid when it comes to collecting them, especially the 4th and 1st ones, but they were easy enough to collect, and with that, we finally start having rules not matter to the playthrough any longer. The first ones being Rule 2, Rule 4, and Rule 5, because we unlocked the final 2 emeralds of the game. We're literally at the end of the game at this point, so there's no reason for glitches, and we don't need to fight any non-sided enemies. So, and after collecting the Cyan Emerald and running around a little bit more, we get the last memory token, beating Rule 3, because we have no reason to fish. We complete Final Puzzle, collect the 6 Chaos Emerald, and move on to Supreme. I'm gonna be completely honest, Supreme is a joke. Remember when I said we didn't need to worry about the 5th rule? Well, it's because Supreme is so easy, you can just cross-slash the little floating prisms, parry his beams, quick side-loop him like Giganto, and then just cross-slash him into a second phase and repeat. So, after we defeat Supreme, we reach the end, the big bad final boss which has been alluded to this entire game. Now, quick cut to what I can imagine is the riveting gameplay.
My captors burn their souls away to fuel their engines.
I'm not gonna lie, this final boss was a lot harder than it looked. The pellets and the beams do make for a very challenging fight, but this is just a shoot 'em up game, like what are we doing here? I panicked a lot, but after we defeated the end, we cleared Aureos Island and finally beat the Ultimate Sonic Frontiers Challenge. This is the final part of a 4-part series I went weekly throughout February. So if you want to see more of this, make sure to subscribe for more content and check the description for the other parts. Have a good day or night wherever you are.